bitch. Yo. You're listening to Top Tier Underground, the podcast that brings you music and the voice of the artist that creates it. Today we have Moniker, the West Coast-based duo from the Midwest. Their beats have more dirt and grime than a crack house sink. Go follow Moniker on Facebook, Insta, and SoundCloud, and watch out for Moniker Mondays. They release a new tune every Monday. They have tons of free tunes, so there's no reason not to cop it. We have some live podcast dates coming up, so we will let you know when all that is official to release. All right, now we give you Moniker with your host, Eric.
All right, so we're live. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
So, you guys are Moniker, and you're a duo from the Midwest. Let's talk a little bit about how you guys got started together.
Sure. We both had an affinity for electronic music and music in general. I did bands in high school and a couple of like plays and things like that, and some stand-up comedy.
Oh, really?
Loved entertainment. Yeah, I did stand-up comedy for a short while, and like I felt like, and at the end of like a bad play or like a bad stand-up, everyone's gonna clap. It's, hey, he tried. Good job, whatever. But with music, I noticed that when you're not doing super well in like a dance floor environment, people will leave. There's like a physical response.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like music more because you can kind of it's like people their bodies react to them more than like when you're sitting in a chair watching something. You're like sitting and moving.
We both pretty much just started as fans, and then we were DJing and kind of throwing shows together, and slowly over time we were producing, and then we just decided to start a duo because we were always kind of working on music together and learning from each other, and we had a bunch of collab projects together, so we were like, we might as well turn this into a collab project, and it grew from there.
So did you guys go to high school together?
College. College together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's where we met.
Did you guys go to college for music specifically, or?
I went for advertising.
Yeah, I was going for journalism. So.
Oh, really? That's cool, man. Journalism, yeah. Advertising. But that kind of helps though with your guys' music.
Exactly. Yeah, we actually were considering doing it like a duo project. We had done like a mix or two together at like shows and things like that, and then there was a competition to win a slot at a small festival right outside of where we started doing music in Knoxville, Tennessee, called Homegrown. And then like the winner, like the top four voted with the most votes got to battle each other. And then it was like a bracket thing, like the two people battle each other from the two winners for this last slot. And somebody voted for us to play together as one of the people in like the battle. And cool. We won a couple of battles and got a slot at this festival. And then we were like, well, that worked out pretty well. We were already working on an EP together, our first EP, which is what kind of lost to the ether, actually. It was called Terminal Velocity.
Oh, it's terrible. Don't even talk about that. It was the worst.
Well, whatever, dude. Like if I go back and think about my first track, it's embarrassing. And like that's just progress, though, right? I mean.
Oh yeah.
You gotta love.
Like 6-7 years later, the stuff we're working on, sometimes it's not what I wanted or intended in that time, and I'm kind of frustrated or whatever, but I still think like if I could have heard myself making this when I first started, I'd be so stoked, like
right,
happy about it. So it's good to kind of look back and be like, okay, there's been progress made.
Yeah, man, that's like one of the hardest things in the world is like I was talking about this on one of the most recent podcasts that we did, but like when I went to Still Dream, the festival Still Dream, and just as an attendee, and then I was like, all I want to do is play this festival. Like that's all I want is to play it. And then I play it, and I'm just like, all I want is a better time slot. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're never totally satisfied.
Yeah, sure. You're always gonna be hungry for more, and
yeah,
and you kind of have to tamp that down and kind of.
But dude,
it turns into an ego thing a little bit, I feel like. But yeah, you were saying Still Dream, dude.
Still Dream is that festival.
Yes.
we went a couple of years in a row in Belden Town. I think we hung out with you once or twice out there too. That is for sure an inspiring festival because you're right on the water and you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere and tons of awesome nature and mountains and we saw otters there. We saw like random river otters.
We saw live river
wild
otters.
river.
It was
crazy.
Like,
look over there.
That's so funny. Yeah, I love Belden, dude. Belden's like my favorite venue, I think. Well, actually, okay, my favorite venue is the one at Symbiosis is at. Have you guys been to that one?
No. Wait, is that the one up in Northern California?
Yeah, well, it's like kind of outside of Sacramento, but it's like in a reservoir and there's water all around it. And there's like these little islands that each stage is on. They all connect to each other, but like they're kind of like little islands with tiny little land bridges to them. And yeah, dude. And it's all like green, lush grass. But Belden is my favorite for like, I always know that if I go to Belden, I'm going to know everybody there. You know, like, that's like the homie spot. Like all the homies are at Belden every time, you know, no matter what festival.
Oh, sorry. It's like a coagulating of like-minded people there for sure. Like they really curate those lineups really well. Still Dream guys. Yeah. It's all like it's very like diverse, but like still like even like a first-time listener could come in and get into the whole scene from that because it's so much like similarities. But yeah, I don't know.
And I like people where you're bound to run into people more than once. Like big festivals are fun, but if you like meet somebody that's really cool and it's like, oh, I'm going to this stage and you're going to that stage. At those big festivals, it's kind of like, well, see you never. Like we'll never see each other in the rest of our lives ever again. It's just 50 people or whatever. At those smaller ones, it's like, you know, see you later this weekend, dude. I got some watermelon. I'll be walking around with it. Come check me out. Like
yeah, it was cool. I remember one time at Still Dream, I was like sitting in camp and it was like me, Arden Sayre, you know, like Trevor Kelly, Schlump, like, you know, like all of the homies and we're all sitting there and this like girl stumbles into camp and she's like talking about how she's like a huge fan of Schlump's and she's just, and Michael is sitting right there, but she doesn't even know it's him, you know? Right. And she's like, oh yeah, I just like, I've never been here before. And, you know, these artists are so great. Like I love Schlump and he's like sitting right there. And that's what I love about it is it keeps everybody together. You know, it's like, it doesn't separate the artists from the campers and it's just very fluid and, you know.
Yeah, that place is super up there as far as venues go too. I mean, Belden, but I got to talk about probably my favorite venue is as far as festivals go, it's Pure Bliss Ranch in Minnesota.
Okay, I've never been. Is that
small like homie festivals there with like a couple of top tier headliners, but
like Tipper, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Tipper's ever played there, but they have like I'm trying to remember their big headliners were last year. But yeah, they have like, you know, a couple like 3-4 top tier artists and then like a lot of regional acts and then a bunch of local people, but the grounds themselves are amazing because the guy who throws the festival also owns the land, and it has a like a horseshoe like lazy river that goes around the entire thing, so you can get on like at the front of the festival, and it takes like 35 minutes. You go around this lazy river. It's like $5 to rent the tube, and then you land like 50 feet from where you started. Yeah, on the other.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
Yeah. I feel like I have yet to actually go to like the real burn, you know. I've never been to like the real Burning Man.
Yeah, Burning Man,
But I just feel, I mean, like I'm sure one day I'm gonna do it, but I just am like, I feel so spoiled from festivals with water, you know.
Yeah. And Burning Man is you have to remember so many more resources.
Way more.
Festivals, it's like at the very least we can drive like an hour to a gas station and
right
have, you know, toilet paper, whatever we forgot, you know.
Yeah,
but not so at the burn. You gotta get out there and negotiate with what you have, basically.
Yeah, totally. That's like Kendra and I Kendra is the kind of person that would throw all of her shit like 4 pairs of clothes in a backpack and then hitchhike to Burning Man. And I'm the kind of person that needs to like rent a motorhome, have water for like everybody in camp, have everything organized, you know?
I would feel exactly that way.
Yeah.
Containers
Yeah, I that's why I haven't gone. I mean, honestly, that's because I'm just like, I can't just go. I have to like go, really.
And people always say, yeah, just go. You could just go. You'll
Right.
manifest it. I'm like, manifest water in a desert? That's not how this works.
Right. I know. I do know, like, I have friends though that have been like, like, oh yeah, maybe like Andrew was driving by my house at 2 a.m. and was like, hey, want to go to Burning Man? I have an extra ticket. So I like grabbed a backpack and jumped in his car, and I'm like, what? No, dude, that sounds terrible. And then they're out there with those like normal tents, and the dust just, like like leaves like a 2-inch thick layer of dust in your fucking tent,
Yeah, it permeates everything, and that's another thing. Like bringing equipment to that is like,
right.
Frightening.
That's
Very
risky. And most festivals, it gets dusty, and you might want to take an air duster to your computer afterwards and just make sure.
Yeah.
But
I've had that happen before. Like my laptop fried.
sorry, I was saying you saw that at the beach stage at Still Dream when it was available every now and then it would get that dust. So I would imagine that'd be a huge problem at Burning.
Yeah, I like most of my friends that go religiously bring an extra laptop. Like they bring a different laptop than their usual laptop because of how fucked up their laptop will get,
Oh my God. Yeah. I can't afford it. What do you just do? Like Facebook Marketplace and buy $1 like
buy like an Acer. Acer network.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one perk of CDJs, though. You just throw that shit on a flash drive. Don't even bring the laptop,
Yeah. That's why we switched. We used to play on Ableton for the longest time because we could kind of make edits right in the software. Like 5 minutes before we go on stage, I could have an idea for an edit and make it happen. And that's cool. It makes you really flexible, but it's just the paranoia of I've always got to have this backpack on me. Well, I have to leave the laptop in the hotel room and just kind of bring a flash drive, which is attached to my keys, and it's like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, the other thing about it is I feel like if you have a controller set up, it could be like you need obviously the laptop, and then you need the MIDI cord that goes from the laptop to the controller, and then you need the controller, and then you need the external sound card. You need the cord that goes from the computer to the external sound card, and you need the cord that goes from the external sound card into the interface for the mixing. And it's like if you forget one of those little pieces, or if one of them fails,
if something messes up, there's different things to check.
Way too many variables, and on top of that, I'm always looking for a fucking 1/4-inch adapter, so I know for sure. I'm not prepared with anything else.
Let anybody borrow this.
I know. I literally will stop at Guitar Center and buy like 10 of them before I leave for a festival. I'll have fucking 10 of them in my car, and I can't find any of them when my set comes, know? So
I feel like everybody's pretty bad with that, but we're notoriously that little hunk of metal gives us so much grief, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I know. Like I played a festival like a couple years ago in California, and that's like literally I had 4 or 5 of them in my car, but my car was too far away, and I was like, somebody at stage will have one. Nope.
No.
It was like we got there, and then I was like, fuck it, I'll just like beat match by ear on the fucking monitors. And it was somebody like ran and got the 1/4-inch while I was doing it. After like 2 transitions, I was like, oh, thank God, But so this is like way side tangent now. But so let's talk about how you guys started producing. You started in Ableton, right?
Sure, yeah.
And what's your guys' process? Like, I know that, like, you guys both have your strong areas because we've talked about this before. So what are your guys' strengths and weaknesses in between the two of you?
I would say that I'm definitely better at getting an idea out and arranging it before it gets tarnished, like, because a lot of the time when you're putting the pen to the paper, you can't really get out the idea that you had when you sat down with it. With that being said, I'm trying to get better at like approaching a project without having any ideas and just kind of just seeing what comes out.
Whereas that's totally my method is just like throwing shit at the wall until something sticks, and then just trying to pan it out as good as trying to expand on it, and which is he has an idea and just puts it down. Whereas I just kind of dick around with the software until I come up with something cool.
So you like more of the sound design then, probably, or yeah.
more sound design inclined.
Yeah, I would agree.
I spend a lot of time on, because we're all operator.
Me too.
STs or anything like that. So
yeah, me too. That's
change, like figuring out effects chains has been especially the last couple of years. It's been like my focus, like trying to get everything dialed in.
That's really cool that you guys are all on operator, because that's what I do too. I don't use any other plugins, and I'm like, I was just talking about this with Sam. Like, I feel like I'm hitting kind of a wall, and I love operator so much, but it's not that operator is a wall, because operator is infinitely amazing, but I just like, I don't know, like I just am like hitting this weird wall with operator.
We're looking into VSTs and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like when you spend a lot of time with, and a lot of time with one, like one synthesizer, you could, fall into patterns. There can be grooves set in your mind where you're like, I'm just going to do this thing that I know how to do. And there's like, you open up a new and exciting software or a new synthesizer you haven't used before. It's like, I want to dick around with this thing and see what I can figure out. And then that can generate some ideas that way. But yeah, we're definitely exploring more than just operator. It's just, we're moving right now.
But another thing, operator is it's very simple, and it has all of the essentials that you're going to find in any, synthesizer, any soft synth. So it's well to learn with, because if you've used that, you can pick up Massive or Serum or something like that and know how to work it pretty quick.
Yeah, I just get, honestly, like, as weird as this is to say, I think that, like, because I have Massive and I have Serum and stuff, but they're like almost too simple. Like, it's, I don't know, that like operator looks really simple, but it's a lot more like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like with Massive,
it's like it's I feel like the metaphor is like, instead of it being like one big spreadsheet, it's like a post-it notepad. There's like many pages to it on operator. It's really small, but there's a lot of depth in it.
Right. Exactly.
Your big sheet, like, just get to do what you can do on it.
Yeah. And Massive, it's like, it's just really easy to get things to sound, this is going to sound really stupid, but it's like Massive is like really easy to get things to sound really like good, but they don't sound as like raw, like I think with operator, it just sounds so raw and organic, and it's just, not much can fuck with it aside from analog.
Well, I think part of it is, and this is kind of a weird conspiracy theory, I feel like Massive has, as just a soft synth, it has more artifacts that you can't really identify. Be like, oh, there's an artifact that you hear, but they're small and they're numerous, and you can it just has a certain sound to it that sounds off compared to something that like operator. It just sounds a little bit closer to like true analog.
Right.
I think that could be keeping us from changing into multiple VSTs is like when we were mostly operator, and when we use a Massive synth and it just sounds off from the rest of the track, because literally everything is operator. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Could be contributing to solving that issue at least.
Well, and your guys' sound is like something that really meshes. I mean, obviously, because you've been using operator to do it, but it's like your guys' sound is so like crunchy and good and operator. Like, it sounds like a good operator track. You know what I mean? It's like, it's distinct.
Most of the leads and stuff to all those tracks are just simple signs and squares, like nothing really crazy going on in the actual operator. The effects chains are what make it wild.
Word. That's really cool. Yeah. I feel like with operator, I like that it's an FM synth, and like, I don't know, like I can spend hours dialing sounds in operator, and then I lack on what you guys are talking about, is that the effects change. Like, that's something that I'm so trying to like get my head more into it, because it like fills the track, it's like the sounds are there, but the effects and everything are what really fill the track out and makes it have that space, and that's definitely where I'm like lacking the most, is like with that full sound. It's like a lot of shit going on, but not occupying this space very freely.
Yeah, there's like tons of fun. It's like making a sculpture out of like Jenga blocks, and then like there's still like space in between the Jenga blocks you gotta fill.
Totally. Yeah, that's a really good analogy. I never thought about it like that. So you guys started out with Ableton. You just started right off with Operator, or did you guys come to Operator?
Yeah, we were using Massive for a while for more of our synthesis, but then we kind of grew an appreciation for Operator, and Massive kind of slowly fell out of our arsenal.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I think
that's probably because, like you were saying, Massive is a lot more like initially user friendly.
Right.
A lot of like even that just come with Massive itself. There's a lot of patches, like 1,000 patches or something that you can find something pretty close to what you're looking for and tweak it a little bit. But as you get to understand like how to actually use a synthesizer and like build from scratch, it didn't really stick to us, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool. So when you guys play live, then what do you kind of do to prepare for a set?
Oh, well, other than trying to play as much original content as possible, which has its own, workload as far as producing the track itself. Just trying to find tracks that are like both not very well known and like highlighting like a specific style that's like our current production.
Sure.
Yeah. We definitely feel like it's, you want to respect your audience enough to not be playing like Bass Nectar tunes. Probably not to knock on Bass Nectar, just
of course not.
Heard that. They probably have heard that tune.
Right.
Like,
yeah. You want to give them something fresh.
Or even like artists that I really love, like Saruta. I don't want to play his tunes because I feel like a lot of people in the room will have heard that tune. Or just myself as an artist, I don't want to bring people stuff they have already heard.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like this is, like so much respect to G Jones, but it's like playing out G Jones tracks, that there was a point in time when you couldn't do it. Like you just because everybody was playing out G Jones, and it's like, I love G Jones, but I'm not playing out a fucking G Jones track because everybody rinses the shit out of it.
Crazy amount of saturation as far as like, do you own a computer? Do you know how to download something illegally? Okay, congratulations. Also, obviously the top tier or like the first thing you got when you dive into it is going to be the upper echelon of producers, like the best, most well-known people. So you go out there and you play a Flume, Bass Nectar, G Jones, things like that. It's like, I understand playing one or two of those tracks in like a 90-minute set, but when you're out there as like the opener or like, the second guy or whatever, you want to make sure that like you seem a little different from what is expected to be heard at like, 1 a.m. or even like just crazy dubstep bangers and things like that.
And that's kind of you can kind of tell that's our approach to production as well. We don't want to produce using sounds that are used a lot or that you're used to or that you've heard.
Right.
Be different and be kind of outside of the normal realm of sounds that you'll hear.
That's good, man. That's something people need to hear this because, a lot of times with production, especially when people are starting out with production, I think a lot of times people are like, oh, like for example, G Jones is killing it, so let's make a tune like G Jones. And it's like, well, G Jones became G Jones because he did something that nobody had done before.
Right.
So that's hard for up and coming producers, like I think I have a lot of friends that'll like, they'll use reference tracks, but then it's almost like they're using a reference track to the utmost point where it's like, okay, you just rewrote that track. It's like the same, and
it's like being a cook versus being a chef. Like a good cook can read a recipe and make you a banging lasagna, but like a chef is going to put something in front of you that tastes amazing and you've never had it or seen it.
Yeah, another good analogy. I think that's a comedian thing, dude. Comedians always have good analogies. Yeah. So cool. Well, so what do you guys have coming up? You guys have any cool plans coming up, or are you just hibernating right now?
We're finishing off an EP. We're thinking about probably in a few months start up Moniker Mondays again.
Oh, badass.
We try to do that every year.
It's a good way to push ourselves into like learning new things, because for those who are listening and don't know, we usually go about 2-3 months. Sometimes I think it's been 4 in the past. Where we just put out a track every Monday, and it starts with like a backlog of like 4 or 5 tracks that we've already pretty close to done, and we can put them out and like focus on working on newer tracks. And then by the end of it, the third month in, you're like, holy shit, I put out 11 tracks in the last 11 weeks. Like, I don't have anything started. I don't have anything going. Like, we got to get a track start to finish in this week that we're happy with and that we want people to hear.
Yeah.
So it's like
sometimes we'll do that for 2-3 weeks and finish tracks. Like, wow, we're banging out a track a week that we're really happy with, and then you'll eventually hit that wall, and we have to, sorry, Moniker Mondays is over, but
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. Like, I definitely think that things like that are really important to push producers, because
your backlog. It just, people get these, I'm sitting on 3 EPs and I'm trying to, it's like, why sit on music that long? Yeah, you got to let them go and move on.
Yeah, I just fucking had my laptop, my hard drive crash, and I lost everything. Dude, everything. And it was like, I just wasn't releasing them because like, I don't know, like I just didn't feel like it. Like I wasn't really just feeling releasing right now. And I had all these tracks that were just like, whatever. They were good-ish. And they were not like my normal shit either, by the way. They were like ambient and, beatless and like weird shit. And so then I fucking didn't back my hard drive up and just lost everything. And it was kind of humbling.
I can see that. We had that same thing happen when we were doing our first EP for Saturate. We had sent them a few tracks, and they were like, yeah, write an EP. We were kind of blown away by that because we were huge Saturate fans, and we kind of just sent it to them like, who knows? And so that was really cool. Yeah, we were in the process of writing more tunes, and just our laptop got stolen.
Oh,
we parked the car on the side of the street downtown, and it just like, we were gone for like a couple hours, came back, and laptop was gone, and that was a big sad thing.
But it was cool because the 2 or 3 of the tracks that we had finished, we still had them online, and we were able to get them to the mastering engineer, who was like, I can work with these, and they was able to make them playable and make them, they sound good still. We still play a lot of those tunes, but there was a couple that we hadn't even bounced yet.
Damn.
That were really, really good favorite tunes of ours that are just kind of lost.
Yeah, one of them was like a Wave Racer style track. It's like really pretty and happy, and like big long decay triangle melodies and things like that. And it's just, I don't know, those tracks that are like, once you get into like 70, 80 plus tracks, it's like there's no way I'm going to be able to rewrite that track and be happy with it the way that it was when it was alive or when it was in my possession. So yeah, I mean, it was in a way palate cleansing. It was like kind of just, start with what you got and move on from there.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the best way to move on from tracks, I think. But yeah, I'm a strong believer in like, if you've labored over a track for months and months and it's not done, just put it out or delete it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that it was almost a good thing that happened, because it just cleansed my laptop of a bunch of bullshit, and then and I mean, I had a bunch of bullshit on my laptop, so so it was like
thing, man.
It was like 5 years of just accumulating shit, like I mean, like I had flyers from when I booked you guys on there, and like, what I mean, just like tons of just
tons of stuff. Yeah.
Stuff. And so it was like, it was almost like, what the fuck was I expecting, dude? It was maxed out. It was destined to happen eventually,
Yeah.
So, but all right. Well, so tell everybody where they can find you guys, and SoundCloud, Twitter. I don't know if you guys do Twitter, but
we give all of our music away for free at soundcloud.com/MNKR, Moniker without the vowels. And we do have an Instagram at MonikerDub, which is our Twitter is Moniker Official, and we're famous because it has official in the handle. So.
Right. Word. I've been waiting to meet people like you my whole life. Okay, and your Facebook is Facebook /
No, it's also Moniker Dub.
Dope.
Moniker UB.
Dope. And when are you guys planning on starting Moniker Mondays, or do you know yet?
That'll probably be a few months out. We're kind of polishing it off an EP right now. We have a small backlog, but we need to kind of build it up a little more.
Sure.
Cool. All right. Well,
promote with you before we get off the subject.
Yeah.
We're doing Bamboo Bass Festival out in Costa Rica.
Nice. That's awesome.
Part of the Sleeveless Records takeover. It'll be our first international gig. I'm really excited. We're making a whole week out of it. We're going to stay a couple days early, a couple days late. Go see all the stuff out there, man. It looks really pretty. And yeah.
That's awesome, guys.
Excited about that.
I've always wanted to go to Costa Rica. I'm super jelly.
Same.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let me, I'm going to pause this thing really fast. Okay.
Drop.
Hold up.
Switch.
the streets and the family city.
bitch.
Yo, thank you guys so much for listening. Super appreciate it. Be sure to check out Moniker on all the socials. Give them a follow. They do that dope-ass Moniker Monday free tune release. And I don't think that they know when they're going to start that, but just stay up on their socials, and that's how you're going to find out. So be sure to tune in next week. We've got a lot of dope-ass guests coming up for you. And also be sure to check out our live stream Sundays, where we throw down on the decks for an hour, Kendra and I. And I'm super stoked about this. This is like something that I've always been really nervous to do, you know, because you're kind of like just putting yourself out there on the internet. But fuck it. It's 2020 almost. So, YOLO.
Thanks.